Hey, what it is, you already know who it is. It's LOKIFERG. I got the wireless headphones and everything. Shout out to my wife. Hey, she got this Father's Day. You already know, so I had to hop up on it and hop up on the new stuff. My son, he watches the show in the background. So, he gonna be chilling, he be talking, so y'all hear him, he has something to say. But hey, my reactions, they one take, they raw, they uncut, but we got inmates actually didn't know what was on camera. Let's get it.
October 2018, 18-year-old Quantrell Schwartzlow escapes custody by jumping out of a second-story window. He didn't know he was on camera, and that put him into more trouble than he could ever imagine. Here are inmates who forgot there were cameras in prison. June 24th, an X-rated video emerged from HMP Wandsworth Prison in southwest London. Now, the video exposes the dark reality behind prison walls, where drug abuse has been a long-standing issue. A BBC investigation had previously shed light on this widespread drug problem, with inmates and some staff openly using hard drugs. The video, filmed in a prison cell, showed a female correctional officer engaging in this intimate act with an inmate. The officer's wedding ring was even visible, and her face and badge were later identified. The video would show an inmate holding the camera, periodically turning it to himself as he smoked a cigarette, making comments like this.
That's how we live at Wandsworth, man. Yeah?
Wandsworth Prison has 8 wings divided into 2 units. The smaller unit with 3 wings was initially for women but now houses male prisoners who participate in full-time activities. The shocking video was filmed in one of these units. As the camera panned across the cell, it showed a cluttered space with various items scattered around. The inmates were dressed in casual clothing, and the officer's uniform was later seen being adjusted as she exited the cell. The video's content was graphic and shocking, sparking widespread outrage and calls for accountability. And as of the time of this video, the Wandsworth prison officials have yet to comment on the matter, but an investigation is likely to follow. The officer, who was later revealed to not only be married but also have a son with her husband, also faces potential criminal charges and dismissal from her duties. This has raised questions about the facility's ability to address its drug problem and ensure proper conduct among staff members. Now, this next unexpected event happened at HMP Adderwell Prison, a private facility in West Lothian, Scotland. The video, recorded in August 2021, shows inmate Kevin Hogg, who was serving a 3-year sentence for traffic offenses. Despite the prison's security measures, Hogg manages to smuggle a mobile phone into his cell. He was probably able to do that thanks to his long history of run-ins with the law, and it was on this phone that he recorded a 65-second video that would soon go viral. In this clip, we see Hogg set up the phone on a shelf facing the cell door. He appears to freshen up, taking a drink of water, and then waits. Moments later, correctional officer Rachel Wilson enters the cell. Wilson, who was still in her probationary period, had only been on the job for a short time. At first, it all looks kinda normal, but what happens next is extraordinary. Hogg and Wilson exchange whispers, and then Hogg pulls her into a passionate kiss. Not long after, the video spreads rapidly among inmates and staff. Initial reactions ranged from shock and disbelief to outrage. And since Wilson was clearly visible in this video, she found herself at the center of this controversy. While the video itself offered no clear answers, investigations were launched to determine what really happened. As part of this investigation, rumors started speculating, saying that if Wilson had felt threatened or uncomfortable, she would have activated her panic button. But since she didn't, it kinda shows that she was a willing participant in this encounter. The observation is further supported by expert analysis, suggesting that the video was recorded to boost Kevin Hogg's reputation amongst fellow inmates, rather than for blackmail purposes. I mean, he took that video and showed everybody. It appeared that Hogg wanted to showcase his influence over a correction officer to gain status amongst his peers. Consequently, the prison authorities took swift and decisive action. The matter was promptly referred to the police, and Wilson's employment was terminated. There is no report on what happened to Kevin Hogg after that video went viral. Neither is there credible information about whether Wilson and Hogg were in a relationship or if it was just a one-time kiss. Over in Dagestan, Russia, a surprising escape attempt was caught on camera at one of its jails. This footage is the only proof of the astonishing moment a prisoner escaped his cell by squeezing through the tiny food hatch in his cell door. I mean, no one would have believed it if there was no evidence. CCTV shows the inmate, identified as Rustam Shakrutinov, forcing himself through the small hole without any clothes on. This all went down in Izbirbash, in the Republic of Dagestan. In fact, due to the extreme flexibility this daring escape required, the 25-year-old, who has had an extensive criminal record, has been nicknamed the Snake Man by local media in southwest Russia. Rustam's casual attitude as he escaped is surprising, considering the daring nature of what he's doing. He didn't even try to run, just in case a security guard was watching the camera at that very moment, and maybe was coming to stop him. That smooth and successful prison break left authorities embarrassed and puzzled, prompting a thorough investigation. The first step was to hold the warden on duty accountable, as the escape was visible on camera. So, for the escape to have been possible, it meant that no one was watching those cameras, raising the question about the effectiveness of the surveillance team. Meanwhile, law enforcement swiftly sprang into action and added Rustam to the wanted list. A joint effort between police and military also initiated. However, it's not known if the police have actually caught him again. Nevertheless, people on social media are talking about the escape, comparing it to a scene from The X-Files and a comedy scene from Ace Ventura. Shakrudinov's flexibility and calmness now have earned him a reputation for being a master of escape. Up next, we have a routine shakedown at the Fulton County Jail, Atlanta, USA, uncovering some
What y'all gonna put him in? He just gonna break out.
unexpected items, like a cell phone. While it's not unusual to find contraband during prison searches, in this one particular search, authorities started investigating and examining the recovered items when they finally got around to checking a phone, in which they discovered an explicit video. The video, showing 36-year-old correctional officer Kawana Jenkins engaging in an intimate act with a male inmate, was disturbing. Jenkins was dressed in full uniform, apparently sitting in the office she was assigned to. While the footage has no audio, it's clear that she was trying to say something to the person behind the camera recording her. In a split second, the man behind that camera pushed Jenkins away, and his finger appeared near her mouth. And without hesitation, Jenkins began sucking on it before the video abruptly ended. Now the prison wanted to know what was going on, and authorities soon discovered that the man in the video with Jenkins was an inmate at the Fulton County Jail. Although his face wasn't visible, investigators identified him using the tattoos on his hands. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office acted swiftly, firing and arresting Jenkins. Sheriff Pat Labonte expressed outrage.
These them niggas that do it for clout in jail. I'm talking about it's real people out here that just enjoy that type of shit. You would never know what's happening.
And disappointment, emphasizing the importance of transparency and accountability amongst employees. Talking about that same accountability, this next viral video is from a prison in South Africa called Nakome Correctional Facility, and it shows a man and a woman getting pretty cozy in a room. The woman looks like the guard and the man looks like the prisoner. And even though they're on camera and it's really risky to do this, they don't care and start getting intimate right there in the room. They keep going at it for several minutes. Who knows, maybe they like the camera watching them. The video started making rounds and it led to some serious consequences. First off, the woman in this video lost her job, and the inmate was transferred to a max security prison and had some of his privileges taken away. After further investigations, it was revealed that the office where it all went down didn't even belong to the woman in the video. It belonged to another female officer, who was presumably the woman's friend. Unfortunately, this other female officer was also fired. So when the news broke out on social media, people started speculating that the two individuals in the video were married, and that prison officials had made a huge mistake by assigning him to the same prison as his wife. Social media detectives would even dig through the woman's Facebook account and find evidence that suggested the official and the inmate were a couple, and the whole thing wasn't even a real crime. However, the spokesperson for the Department of Correctional Services, Singo Andalo, debunked that rumor, stating that the two individuals in the video were not married. There's also rumors that the woman had taken her own life after deleting her Facebook account, unable to bear the embarrassment of the video being shared everywhere. But thankfully, that wasn't true either. Human rights groups also weighed in on this situation, claiming that this kind of thing happens all the time in prisons, but nothing ever changes. The chair for the Prisoners and Detainees Trust for Human Rights even pointed out that the video shows a clear security lapse within the correctional services. He did ask the public to stop sharing that video on social media, but he also questioned the logic behind assigning female workers to male prisoners. Aside from this, the whole thing got the South African government reminding everyone that romance between prison officials and inmates is strictly forbidden. June 15, 2018, a daring escape takes place at the Curry County Detention Center. The mastermind behind the escape wasn't one of the inmates, but rather Serena Dodson, a detention center employee, who was charmed into assisting 3 inmates in their escape. The inmates were identified as Aaron Clark, who was facing allegations of attempted child abuse and identity fraud, Ricky Senna, who'd been charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and auto theft, and Victor Apodaca, who was being held on a drug-related charge. Now, according to news reports, the inmates had carefully planned their escape, using their charm to manipulate Serena into helping them. On the day of that escape, 28-year-old Serena was the only person in the control room, making it really easy to help them out.
For one of the men appears to take out a set of keys and unlock a secure door, making a break for it. A camera in the alley outside captured the men dressed in all white casually walking away.
She opens 3 security doors, allowing the men to walk to the outdoor recreation area freely.
Back inside the jail, a camera in the control room spots jail guard Serena Dodson alone.
However, Serena's mistake was forgetting that the control room was also under surveillance. The video shows her nervously scratching her head as she opens the door for the inmates. Her actions definitely didn't go unnoticed, and she was captured 4 days later. The inmates were also caught about a week after their escape, following a 3-hour standoff with the police. During Serena's trial, the judge highlighted that the escape wasn't a spontaneous act, but rather the result of careful planning over days and weeks. She then accepted a plea agreement of 3 counts of third-degree felony assisting escape and 1.
I know you get out, you would make sure you don't get caught, my dude. Your ass better dye your skin, all type of shit. You better do some different shit, nigga. Dye your skin, try to get across the border, go to Russia from there, go to go to Pakistan. I have to go to Pakistan, go to Israel. After you go to Israel, go to Asia, and just keep traveling from.
1/4-degree felony count of bringing contraband to jail. Serena was initially sentenced to 10.5 years, which was later reduced to 9 years and 18 months of supervised probation. In contrast, the inmates weren't as fortunate. Ricky Senna received a 30-year sentence for felony escape from jail and other crimes to be served concurrently with his 11-year sentence. Victor Apodaca was sentenced to 12 years for felony escape from jail, with 6 years suspended to be served on probation. Aaron Clark received a 10-year sentence for the same charge, with 4 years suspended, also to be served on probation. October 2018, Quantrell Schwartzlow was arrested in Ofordville, Wisconsin, on suspicion of second-degree sexual assault, strangulation, and battery. Initially, he refused to be interviewed, but later changed his mind while being led to his cell. However, during a brief moment of being left alone in a locked interview room, Schwartzlow made a daring escape. He climbed out of the second-floor window despite being handcuffed, and this whole thing is captured on CCTV from the sheriff's office, which showed Schwartzlow open the window and dive headfirst off the second story. After falling 16 feet to the ground, another camera.
This nigga just jumped in the second window. I mean, the face first is crazy, nigga. Unless he was like, oh, nah, I ain't no doing that, yo. Hell no.
Camera captures the 18-year-old running through the fields at the Rock County Sheriff's Office. When a cop came to the room to check on Schwartzlow, he got the biggest shock of his life as he exclaimed,
"Oh, no fucking way."
It took the cops around 14 minutes to even realize he'd escaped from the room, and they would spend another 4 hours looking for Schwartzlow until he was finally found hiding in a friend's house. During his sentencing, Deputy District Attorney Perry Foltz revealed the disturbing details of Schwartzlow's crimes. This kid strangled a young woman until she lost consciousness and then sexually assaulted her, claiming he was trying to make her feel better. The victim further explained that her relationship with Schwartzlow had been marked by persistent abuse and threats. Defense attorney Michael Murphy also revealed that Schwartzlow had been adopted, but later got into contact with his biological father, who was a big drug dealer. He would also argue that Schwartzlow suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome and was negatively influenced by the money, power, and effect his biological father had on women. In the end, Schwartzlow was charged with felony escape and sentenced to 4 years in prison, and 4 years of extended supervision for the strangulation and prison escape. And the county sheriff's office has now installed metal grates on the windows because we just can't have this happen again.
Hey, I'm finna go hang out with my son. We're gonna do a part two, but 13:55. Look. We're gonna do a part two. I'm gonna watch it with y'all later. So look out for that video. You already know I'm finna go hang with my son, though. Peace.